Go ahead, Warren. Count us down.
Oh, we're already on. Sorry.
Oh, shoot. Welcome, Ranters, to another episode of Random Rants with three guys that know a little bit about everything. All right, did it again. You know what? One down to get this right. Three guys that know a little bit about everything. Well, we have one guy that knows about everything and then another guy who thinks he also knows about everything. So I guess one guy who can admit that he doesn't know about everything. Today, we're going to talk about the X-Men universe, not the comics, because I don't think we're that studious. Are we? Of the comics?
I sure ain't studious.
Yeah. I don't think I'm that astute when it comes to comics. Juan, what about you? The comics itself.
No, I'm definitely a novice.
So we're gonna talk movies universe. And we can definitely start off with, what did you guys think? Like, what made you first fall in love with the X-Men? Before we get into the movies.
Jeff, you want to go first?
Yep. Jeff,
no, so yeah, I mean,
if you love the X-Men, you may not love the X-Men.
If in fact you love the X-Men.
So what? I'm just the guy that just hates everything.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's it. Like, that is a guy. But no, seriously, what made you fall in love with the X-Men?
For me, it was just the character Gambit. That was the main thing that got me into it.
From the cartoon, right? The animated series?
From the cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wasn't into the comics. So yeah, so from the original, well, I don't know how original the cartoons went, but when I was growing up, you know what I mean? It
90s.
was like
90s,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like, he got me into it. Then as I started watching it, more characters I started falling in love with that unfortunately weren't in the first X-Men movie.
Man, we're gonna get to that.
But you know, for real, we will get into that part. But yeah, that it was really Gambit that made me fall in love with it first. And I think also I played no, that was after the fact. But when I started playing the video game that you guys used to have.
Oh man, yeah, that damn, what X-Men game? I don't know what X-Men game that was.
It was Sega Genesis though.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. I cannot think about the X-Men game, and I know what Magneto was in it. Storm, it was terrible. I don't care.
Gambit was in it. It was,
but it was a bad game.
It was a bad game, but it just took the love that I had for X-Men to another level, and then the movies came along.
Yeah,
that game was real good. Yeah,
you like no. I was saying the opposite. I was saying it was bad. When I think about it, it was frustrating. Wolverine used to cut itself, by the way. Like, Wolverine used to literally, you could kill. Like,
are you talking about a fighting game or adventure game?
Oh, not the fighting game. No, the fight. Yeah. No, it's in the adventure game.
Adventure.
Yeah, the adventure one. Yeah, that's what Wolverine he'll be able to cut himself. Yeah. There's obviously like a bunch of them. So I'm wondering.
There's different ones. Yeah.
But what about you, Juan? What made you fall in love with the X-Men?
Well, one, I'm into factions and stuff like that. So that's one of the things I do like this. You have a variety of different characters, where back in that time, the most popular cartoons, at least, what boys liked at least, was like Spider-Man's and your Batman.
I don't know if you can say that now that boys like them. Okay.
So for me, is one of the only cartoons that I like that had factions in it, different characters, variety of characters, and I also like the the realism, unlike other cartoons. And that's one of the things I still don't like, is if something it's too silly, is even if I watch anime, if it's too too cartoonish, I guess you're gonna say. I don't know better word to put it. Too silly, too far silly. I don't.
You still haven't watched Superbad yet?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Here we are. Listen,
tied into that too. Yeah. Tied into that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So similar to that, that's why, like, for example, One Piece, I just can't get into it because the animation is just so, unrealistic. And I know I'm watching obviously a cartoon, but
I get what you're saying.
It's still unrealistic. So like, that's one of like the grittiness of it, and the the fact that it was realistic, and you could relate to it with so much, so much politics that they put into it.
It's funny you mentioned like about the animation. It does play a big part in it, because even like with comic books back in the day, and again, not studious comic book reader or anything like that, but I do know that back in the day, and even now, like, you kind of look at comics. Well, now we're more conscious of like content and like what the story is telling, but back then people just loved the art. And one of the people that was super instrumental in that which is what we loved. The art version of the X-Men, the suit, the way it was drawn, the grittiness of it all was Jim Lee, who like 90 comic book arcs, they kind of it ushered in this new wave for the X-Men from the 60s and the 70s. And then once we got to the 90s, that's what we saw in the animated cartoon, which is what, you know, made Jeff fall in love with it. What made you fall in love with it, me too. And a lot of us like who don't necessarily go to the stores and buy a bunch of comics. And who's your favorite X-Men though? Because he said Gambit kind of got him into it. And then who was like one of the people that you absolutely love, which I know the answer to, but obviously everybody else don't.
Yeah, well, it's Wolverine and Gambit, my two favorite. And, you know, and it's similar to what he said, you know, the art, and, you know, of course I had comics too, but
yeah,
the anime series, of course, was the main thing I love. And you know, yeah, you mentioned Jim Lee, definitely, you know, pioneer in
this version,
so,
like
in the colors that we think of, you know, when we think of the X-Men. And the other Andy Kubert also, you know, that he followed up on Jim Lee. Of course, not as great, but I would say he did a great impression of Jim Lee. You know, but he did what I liked about his take was he was a little bit more realistic. You know, that's when we started seeing in the comics they got a little bit the same colors but more realistic, different faces, and that's one of the problems with Jim Lee that a lot of people say is a lot of things are similar to each other. But as far as like pioneers, you know, when you're pioneering something, you have to start from scratch. So it's kind of not fair for the guys later on who build upon that same art in order to make what some people say is a better product. You know, most don't though.
Yeah. So all right. So now that we got what my favorite X-Men, it started off Iceman over the like it was a tie between Iceman and Gambit. I love the Gambit story arc, which is going to kind of get into a little bit later when we start talking about how the X-Men should be introduced. And one of the things that, you know, that happened with the Fox franchise, and all of us can attest to this, is like their disservice to what they did to Gambit and so many other characters. So Jeff, since you kind of open up and say you want to talk about one of the things that disappointed you, really quick, X-Men 2000. To me, it's still it's a really good movie, but it's not. It didn't lead into like what we expected from the X-Men. So Jeff, you could go ahead. So what was your gripe and what you like? What did you like about it? What was your gripe about it though with the X-Men 2000, that first trilogy in general?
Well, there were some characters that, you know, they kind of like nailed on the head, you know what I mean? But some I did not like, and I still didn't like regardless. But like you know, Magneto was good. He was good.
Shoot, this is blasphemous. Like
I didn't expect him to be that old looking, you know what I mean? I thought they would go with someone a little bit, but I get it. You know, Professor X, I feel like that was like hands down.
Yeah,
money.
Dog, like, that was money.
Yeah, but for the ones they hit, they missed so many though.
They missed a lot. They missed a lot.
Juggernaut was atrocious.
Oh my God.
They missed that was
atrocious.
Big time.
First of all, they poo-pooed this dude like he was just some side character. Like and worse than the side character. Like he wasn't even that big. Like even the Thing could take him on. Bro, he was. Do you know his favorite line is "I'm jogging a B.I." You know I don't curse. Like I'm jogging a B. Like that was his line, but no connection to Professor X. He had no ties to the stone. He had no arc. He just ran through walls. But that's not Juggernaut. Like what happened to the brother? Like that connection between him and Professor X. And that's kind of one of the things, you know, like that Deadpool got right. Like they retconned it. If you haven't seen it, sucks for you because you should have seen it by now. If you haven't seen it, then that means you don't care. They retconned the whole Juggernaut thing. They made fun of it. That was Ryan Reynolds, by the way. Y'all know that, right?
Yeah.
That was Ryan Reynolds CGI.
That's one of many characters, though. You know that. Yeah. That's why I understand for much as they did, why just not continue and use some of the brilliant comics that we have, you know, and use it to put it live TV. I know you can't do it word for word. I know you can't do that.
Yeah, I mean nobody expect that, but
you can do it as best as possible.
And I think it ushered in like what we know as like modern day comic book movies. Like X-Men 2000 kind of was like it, because you had a trilogy of comic book movies. Like it was kind of it that much ushered in, it boosted careers. Like Hugh Jackman became Hugh Jackman because of X-Men. And then Kevin Feige, he was one of the I think co-producer, executive producers of the original trilogy. So it's like it still sucked though. Like
even the placements though. So even the placements of the characters, where some characters was supposed to be part of the original characters, like Iceman, and then he's just a kid. There's so many cases like that. Rogue was just a girl that just came along as a student.
I hated Rogue, bro.
Oh my God, I hated Rogue. It's not your fault. There's so many. It's not your fault, and Pac-Man, but they did you so dirty.
But overall, it was okay though. I think even part two,
the story
part two was okay.
No, the thing is, it's not the movies. Those two movies were not bad. Part 3, Last Stand, was terrible, but those two movies weren't bad.
Those two,
they were not bad at all. But when you think about the X-Men, like the things that we loved is where they were placed.
Great PG-13 movies, by the way, too.
And she was supposed to be hot, bro. Rogue was supposed to be hot.
It threw everybody off. It was supposed to be the Southern Belle, like overly attractive. And again, it's
curvaceous.
They take it too far in the anime series, though.
They take it too far in the anime series.
That time when she falls in front of Apocalypse is just ridiculous.
They took it too far. You just watched it. Like you just watched it. But they took it too far in the anime series, but they didn't even try.
No, the X-Men geeks now I'm talking about. It's a meme.
Yeah. Like they didn't even try in the movies with Aunt Pac-Man. Like she was nothing, like no strength. And I get it. They probably wanted to capture that version of Rogue that was with Mystique and Destiny. But guess what though? Nobody knew that. Like they didn't tell you that she was with Mystique and Destiny. Like you didn't know all the stuff that she'd been through, other than the fact that she couldn't touch her boyfriend because she would probably murder him.
And that was so weak. I hated that. Yep. I hated just that being what she was, but that it was just I didn't like them casting her.
No.
I would even took Lindsay Lohan if she was
back in the day, but but back then
I would have took Jennifer Love Hewitt.
And you would have took Jennifer Love Hewitt. So it's like it was so many different actresses that you could have went with. They could even low-key went with Scarlett Johansson. I think she was 20.
Oh,
she was relatively she was like 20 something then. Dang. So it's so many ways they could have went. Like she was young. Like
they would have over sexualized the hell out of her though.
They would have though. They've done that. They would have Harley Quinned her.
And like about Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
Too much? Too big?
No. Nah, because think about the stars they got. They got Patrick Stewart and Ian.
Look at Jeff's face.
Which version of Angelina are we talking about though?
2000.
Tomb Raider. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
2000.
I often say this one.
Not retired now.
She's washed.
Not even Mr. or Mrs. Smith. Angelina.
No, wait. What's wrong?
Gotta be Tomb Raider.
Oh wait, no, that would have been. That technically would have been Tomb Raider. By the way, the Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Angelina Jolie. I mean. I don't she was on a
decline to me by that time.
And Mr. and Mrs. Smith, she was in her prime. Yo, you tripping.
Her prime.
What you said? One blasphemy, right?
Blasphemy.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Quickly.
You are wrong.
Quickly.
All right, hey. So, Cyclops. How do y'all feel about Cyclops in general, though? Because I know it's this thing that nobody really likes him, but I want to know what y'all think before I get into what I think about him in general, and then what they did with James Marsden character.
He's a chump.
Yeah, they made him too weak, man.
But guess what?
But he's always been like that, though.
He was always like that in
massively weak.
Yeah, he was. Like he was soft. And the thing is, James Marsden is ridiculous. If you ever seen him in Westworld, we just saw him with Sonic, right? Mm-hmm. Sonic, he was in Sonic the Hedgehog. Yes. Dude is ridiculous. Like he is good. He deserved better.
Yeah, Westworld, I really liked him. Westworld too.
Yeah, that's kind of what made him stand apart a little bit, is because like if you didn't see him before, you saw him in Westworld and it was like, yo, this was Cyclops. Like,
but part of that too is that there's some actors, which I feel like that's what he is. Some actors they're just better TV actors. Granted, the story was whack, but
because they didn't give him a chance.
I never fell in love with
him as Cyclops.
As him as Cyclops.
You know who would make a good Cyclops and not a good Gambit? Like he's an absolutely dreadful Gambit. Keep him away from Gambit. I don't care Disney. I don't care how big his name is.
Don't say it.
I'm saying it. No. I'm going to say it right now.
You look like you were fixing your mouth.
Yo, keep him away from Gambit. he would be a decent.
Start with a T.
He would be no.
No, it's not. It looked like a J. He was about to push out.
No, not even. Okay. Not even. I'm gonna tell you right now. Channing Tatum. Keep him away from gambling.
His last name, but
keep him away from.
I said his last name, but not start with a T.
Oh, you said last name. My bad. I thought you meant Tyler. I thought you meant like Tyler Catch. I thought you meant. No, I ain't gonna do my dog like that. Tyler, it's not your fault. But to keep Channing Tatum away from Gambit, man. Like I don't want to see no 40-year-old Gambit. Like we need like.
You want him as Cyclops?
No. I don't want Channing Tatum as anything. But I'm saying if you're going to keep him, if you're going to put him on as something, I think he would be fine as Cyclops. I wouldn't be opposed to it. One of the people I like is Zac Efron. He's short though, but Zac Efron would be pretty good. Yeah, he'd be pretty good.
It's so many, ever since Wolverine punched Cyclops in the stomach and took his lunch money in the animated series, just punched his stomach like a chump came off the jet, make his car into a convertible.
Tell Cyclops I made him a convertible.
Now you got a convertible.
Yeah.
So he lost all his credibility.
He lost all his credibility.
And then, street cred.
And so what happened, every writer that got a chance to write him apparently was like, oh, we're going to make him weaker and weaker. Because even when they recast him, he was still a very much weak. Like
I didn't follow like the recasting of Cyclops when that happened. Yeah. Like I already was tapping out long time ago. Well, they had a bad thing with me because, and I don't even know, have they done this yet? Have they actually introduced Jubilee at all?
Yeah, but it was, if you tapped out good because all they did was just piss you off because they got the perfect actress to play her, and then they didn't really do anything with her.
You talking about the last Jubilee?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was good. Yeah,
she was amazing, but guess what? It was all for nothing. They cut the best scene when they went to the mall. They cut it out the movie.
Yeah.
What's her name? Juan? You remember Peyton Lee? Was it?
No, she was in that movie recently, and I just saw it.
What's All the Boys Love? She's on a Netflix show, right?
Yeah.
I'll go look it up. But go ahead. But yeah, they did recast her. They just did a really, really, really bad job.